binoculars. Welcome to Viva Barca and welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest transfer stories for Barcelona. We are going to begin with Oriol Romeu of Girona, as it has been reported that Barca wished to push for the 10 million euro rated former midfielder if Marcelo Brozovic move fails. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then secondly, talking about Ivan Fresneda, this right back from Valladolid, as it have been reported that Barca are currently in pole position to sign the 15 million euro rated teenage defender. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, as we get right into the full stories, please do ensure to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Earlier today, reports suggested that Barcelona had reached an agreement with Marcelo Brozovic over a contract with an initial salary of 7 million euros. However, the Blaugrana are still not assured of his signing, as they must agree a transfer fee with Inter Milan first, while also generating revenue to be able to pay Inter Milan. At the same time, the club also needs to provide guarantees to the midfielder over his registration. Barca have been told that they have they have close to a week to sort out their affairs and make a formal offer to Inter by Brozovic's representatives. Failure to do so might see the Croatian international opt to sign for Al Nassr instead. And in that scenario, Mundo Deportivo is reporting that Barcelona will go after Girona midfielder Oriol Romeu as an alternative to reinforce the pivot position. The 31-year-old is a former La Masia graduate and even made a couple of first-team appearances for the Catalan Giants before leaving for Chelsea. Romeu is a player who knows the Barcelona system and philosophy thoroughly and has plenty of experience in the Premier League. Having returned to Spain by joining Girona last summer, the defensive midfielder enjoyed a solid debut season with his new club. As such, Barcelona are now considering bringing Romeu back to the club in case Brozovic does not arrive. What attracts Barcelona further is that the Spaniard has a release clause worth 10 million euros in his release clause, and Barca believes that the valuation could be further reduced by offering a player in exchange to Girona as part of the operation. Should they sign Oriol Romeu instead of Brozovic, Barca might end up with some funds left to invest in a new right back as well, potentially a low-cost option like Ivan Fresneda of Real Valladolid. Of course, Oriol Romeu still continues to be linked to Barcelona, after Barca still have doubts over the pursuit of Inter Milan midfielder Marcelo Brozovic. It hasn't been an easy transfer window so far for Barca in their bid to look for a Sergio Busquets replacement. And honestly, we have most of the times been doomed when looking for a replacement for Busquets. Of course, we know that the top choices for Xavi has all failed to come, and Barca are just looking now for players who can come just for the time being, not for a long run, but more of a short run. Because if we look critically, most of these players are already in their 30s. Marcelo Brozovic is already 30 years old. Oriol Romeu is 31. And to the extent where Barca were even linked with a certain um, Parejo, who is 34. But yesterday there were reports that Dani Parejo have been ruled out from the race finally. So Barca now are keeping their eyes on two DMs, precisely. Their first choice in Marcelo Brozovic, who is closely linked to Saudi Arabian giants Al Nassr, and the move looks more close to Al Nassr than Barca, in all fairness. So Barca are already keeping an alternative in Oriol Romeu, knowing fully well that if they fail to sign Brozovic, which they will likely fail, then they will go for Oriol Romeu, who is a far cheaper and affordable option. Of course, he is a former La Masia player. Talking about Oriol Romeu, he left Barca La Masia in 2010. He played about 2 games in the first team and was sold. He played for Premier League clubs like Southampton, majority of his career in the Premier League, and he's a solid defensive midfielder. Of course, I can't say much about him because I haven't really taken note of him in many videos. But I think if Xavi is going for him as a short-term replacement for Busquets, then he has something special. So Barca are keeping an eye on him closely, knowing fully well that they might still likely fail for Marcelo Brodovic's pursuit. Oriol Romeu, of course, currently plies his trade at Girona. He played at Girona this past season. He's still there with them and had a fairly good season with Girona as Barcelona keep an eye over him. So far, Barca have been seeing their attempts to replace Busquets end in failure. Of course, Marcelo Brozovic as well currently is still pondering as to where he would decide to go. Yesterday there was a report claiming that Barca have agreed a 7 million euro with the player, but Inter Milan are still to say anything about that. But as it stands right now, Barca need to sort out their finances as soon as possible because the representative of Marcelo Brozovic have told Barca that they give Barca 6 days to sort out their finances and they should make a formal offer, or else Brozovic will be going to Saudi Arabia to play for Al Nassr. So as it stands right now, Barca are in a state of limbo. So let's see what happens. But the club are currently pushing for Oriol Romeu as an alternative if Brozovic do not come. Then moving on to the next story of discussion, Barca have been monitoring this Real Valladolid right back, Ivan Fresneda, as a possible option to reinforce the position this summer. However, reports have suggested that the teenager could be bound for Borussia Dortmund, who are also progressing in negotiations with his club. But now, according to a report from German outlet Roh Nachrichten, Dortmund have cooled off their interest in Fresneda, putting Barca in pole position to sign the Spanish prospect. Fresneda enjoyed a solid campaign with Real Valladolid in his debut season in La Liga, which is why clubs are interested in his signing, despite the fact that his club ended up being relegated. At 18 years of age, he is still a bit green, but there is plenty of potential in the young star's shoulder, which has put him on Barca's radar. Another aspect that attracts Barcelona is that Fresneda has a release clause of 20 million euros in his contract, but could very well be available for just 15 million euros this summer. It has been suggested that the teenage prospect is also attracted by the idea of playing for Barca and would be willing to wait for an approach, but not for very long. But with Borussia Dortmund now dropping out of the race, Barca may have the edge in pursuing Fresneda. However, as things stand, funds are hard to come by for Barca and they need to make some important sales before they can even consider signing any more players. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.